How many opportunities are you missing because your brand isn't dialed in on the front end? So think about it this way. How about instead of showing up for a meeting and feeling like you constantly have to sell yourself, you could be walking into that meeting with a very enthusiastic prospect who has been waiting to meet you. I take on as many, introduction and sales calls as I can throughout the week for BrandFace. I still love doing that kind of thing. And it never fails. People will show up and they'll say, wow, I've been looking forward to this meeting. I've been watching your videos. I feel like I already know you and I have some questions for you right away. And I think, voila, that is the brand at work.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand.
Personal branding has been the rage for the last few years, but in our opinion, few people truly understand the significance of it. Yes, telling your story, showcasing your differentiation, and having a consistent and recognizable presence are just a few of the things that a great personal brand can do. But what's the number one job of a personal brand? Well, that's what we're talking about today. I'm Tanya Eberhard, and I'm the founder of BrandFace.
Hey guys, I'm Michael Carr. I'm the COO of BrandFace. I was actually a client before I bought into the company and fell in love with personal branding. When I first met Tanya, she taught me the power of branding, and that was about a decade ago, a little over a decade ago. I thought I was hiring her for marketing. No. She taught me branding, which is very important. But I understood the concept immediately and the difference between the two. What I underestimated was the results that I would get from that. Keep in mind, I'd been in business 20 years before I met her. So I had been marketing for 20 years, throwing stuff against the wall, seeing what would work, thinking none of it did, right? Knowing that only a certain percentage of marketing worked, but nobody knew what percentage. So you got to spend 100% of the money and 75% of it's wasted. Well, I'm here to tell you now that after working with her over a decade, that's a lie. Marketing does work, but it only works if you put your brand first. That is the most important thing. It's the number one job. And we're going to talk to you about, even inside of the job of the branding, what its number one purpose is, right? But I get constant remarks from people that see my brand, and it always turns into business, and it doesn't turn into business just for our firm. It really helps individually each one of the agents in my real estate business.
Yep. And so that leaves the question, drum roll, what is the number one job of a personal brand? Well, it is to precede you. Okay. Think about this statistic. Now, actually, I think this is low. 98% of people will meet your brand before they meet you. So think about this. Let's say we have 10, 15 face-to-face meetings, whether they're Zoom or they're across the table having coffee. We have 10 to 15 meetings this week. Guys, that number pales in comparison to the number of people who are going to be exposed to your brand every time they see it. In other words, a LinkedIn post, a Facebook post, a YouTube video, visiting your website, any number of those things. Your brand should be attached and dialed in on all of those areas. So what happens when it's not, right? People should be familiar with you and what you stand for before they ever even meet you. In fact, get this, it should be why they want to meet you.
Yeah, it should be. I get it all the time. I will go into areas that I'm just visiting. Not places I frequent, places I have just gone to, convenience stores, traveling things, and people will come up to me and say, "Can I ask you a question?" And I always know what the question is going to be. Are you Michael Carr, the real estate agent? And yes, I am. And because they see my brand way before they ever even call. I mean, these are people that aren't already clients that I'm running into. These are people that are staring at me. I was in a Costco the other day in line because I had forgotten my card and I had to get one of those temporary things. And this lady kept looking at me that was selling like blinds or something at the Costco. And she came over to me. She goes, "Can I ask you a question?" And I grinned and I'm like, "Yes, ma'am, you can." And she goes, "Are you the real estate agent, Michael Carr? Because you look just like the guy on the billboard. I'm like, yep, that's me. Right? That is a brand preceding you. Right. And so when we start working with clients, I'll ask them, I'll be like, how do you believe that you're perceived by the people who know you?
Like what you're hearing? Hit that subscribe button and learn how you can change how you're seen and charge what you're worth.
And they'll usually tell you, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll usually tell you what they think because they've heard that from their friends or family members, their kids, their cousins. But then I'll ask them, how do you think you're perceived by people that don't know you? And they never think of the question. But that is the crux of how to build a business. What is the perception of the people who have not called you yet? That is everything. The truth for most coaches, consultants, experts in the business, when you get a chance to meet somebody and share your story and how you help them and share your elevator pitch and be ready to tell them what it is that you do to make a difference in their life, they're probably going to end up doing business with you, right? Mm-hmm. We all have a sales percentage that we hit, but if you're good at that, you're definitely going to hit that sales percentage every time. It's almost scripted. Why? Because you're meeting with them. You're doing what we're doing right now if you were sitting across the table and we're having a dialogue and we build a rapport. And so that's actually the easiest part of this process of sales. Tanya's going to tell you a bigger challenge.
Yeah. So Michael's right. The easiest part is actually having that conversation once you get there, because then you do have a chance to portray what's different about you, share with people why they should work with you, et cetera. The hard part, guys, is getting to the table, right? So, So here's the bigger challenge and question for you. How many more conversations could you be having if people knew about you and what you stand for before you ever even meet? How many opportunities are you missing because your brand isn't dialed in on the front end? So think about it this way. How about instead of showing up for a meeting and feeling like you constantly have to sell yourself, you could be walking into that meeting with a very enthusiastic prospect who has been waiting to meet you. I take on as many, introduction and sales calls as I can throughout the week for BrandFace. I still love doing that kind of thing. And it never fails. People will show up and they'll say, wow, I've been looking forward to this meeting. I've been watching your videos. I feel like I already know you and I have some questions for you right away. And I think, voila, that is the brand at work, right? Because we're putting that persona out there before they ever even meet us and they show up ready, in most cases, to do business. So you should be spending your time in that meeting with your prospect, talking about their needs and challenges, not feeling like you have to sell yourself. And we honestly hear stories daily from our clients about the power of their brand to precede them once it's out there and built by us, right? People shout their brand identifier when they enter into a room. That's that tagline or slogan, right? That says what you want to be known for. They start the conversation with, hey, Tom, I did not realize you did this or that. I didn't know that about you. Or they mention that they're so glad to just have the opportunity to meet with you because you have so much in common. In most cases, they don't know a lot of that stuff coming into the meeting, but if your brand's dialed in, they will. And that list can go on and on and on.
Yeah. And that's how a brand does its number one job. It precedes you. And that matters. That's everything, folks. That's everything. In this digital world we live in, AI better be telling your clients, your future clients, to do business with you. And how's it going to do that? Junk in, junk out. And how it's going to do that is you build a brand and let that brand precede you to a lot more business.
Exactly. And I'm going to give you just a little tip coming into next week's live. We're going to talk about AI and how AI can help you and hurt you in your brand. And I want to put this note out there ahead of time because I want you guys to tune in. It's going to be an amazing video because it'll give you a lot of insight that people aren't normally thinking about. They're thinking about, oh, this AI thing, it's going to write all my content. It's going to tell me my brand. So everything's going to be wonderful, right? I want you to remember this and then tune in next week. Garbage in, garbage out. Gold in, gold out. Okay, remember that, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Ready to change how you're seen and charge what you're worth? If you're not getting enough opportunities to meet with ideal customers, or the prospects you're meeting with just aren't ideal, it's most likely your brand that's holding you back. So if you're a coach, consultant, or expert who is on the rise, you need our ultimate guide to a freedom-based brand. Download it free now at brandfaceguide.com.